Good morning and welcome to our weekly men's volleyball press conference. We will start the press conference with an opening statement from head coach Alan Knipe, and then we'll open it up to questions from the media.
Yeah, it's an exciting week for us. Obviously, this is what you set your sights on way back in August when we get going. So I know the guys are fired up to get on the flight tomorrow and get to Ohio State and get started. But for me, when I reflect on kind of our journey to this point so far, it's such a unique journey. And every season's like that. They all have their own storyline. But I think that with all the craziness, and especially the craziness in a good way, directed around Moni and a lot of things that he's been able to do, which is all well-deserved, I think there's also another storyline over here that's been missed. And I think the storyline really is that the collective response of this group coming into this season, after a year where we lost 10 seniors and almost our entire starting team from a team that played in the finals last year and went to 3 straight Final Fours. Because when you look at our team, Skylar was on the right last year, and now he's on the left. And the team that we currently have on the floor, and for the most part of the season, Dieris is the only guy in the same spot from the team that played in the finals. And to me, that's incredibly impressive. And when you add in the fact that I know it sounds a little cliche, but there's this saying that goes through programs all the time, and that is the next up mentality. And I just think this team has flexed that all season long, whether it be with Seb Bassani and Alex Conda stepping up big when we needed him for Satirius, and Nato Dickinson stepping in and Connor Bloom stepping in and playing on the right when for Daniil's spot, and then even Nato Dickinson playing in the middle some, Ben Braun being in the middle, Isaiah Pruitt being in the middle, Lazar Bushchoff being in the middle. It's really been an entire team effort, and I just think that it's pretty special because there's been so many different weeks we've had to come in and kind of reinvent what we're trying to do, and the guys have been just so good about not being fazed by that and truly believing in whatever personnel we put on the floor, we're going to be able to find a way to get it done. So like I said, I don't want to take anything away from a lot of the attention that Moni has earned, and that's rightful, but I also want to make sure we shine a light on how impressed I've been with just the whole sum of our parts of how good we've been of finding a way to continue to work through the adversity and get us to this point. And I look forward to the opportunity to a lot of these guys reaping the benefit of a lot of work, and maybe not a traditional route onto the court, but when they got onto the court, they showed all of the work that they've been putting in for some of them for months and maybe a year, and for others maybe years. And for that, I couldn't be happier with the program and look forward to going and representing Long Beach State and in the NCAA tournament again and getting after it.
Now, your seniors have never not been to a Final Four. How rare is that, and how does that benefit the team, especially the younger guys?
Yeah, I haven't really looked at it like that. Well, it's certainly impressive. It's something that is it's very difficult just to get there. I think that this is a perfect year, that there's some schools that know exactly what I mean. Just getting there sometimes is harder than actually competing in the tournament. And, we've been in that situation. We've been on both sides of that. It's a very difficult situation. So for our seniors to be able to say that, I'm very proud of them. Their leadership of understanding what it takes to go through the different parts of a season, the non-competition season in our fall, into our go through the break and then come back, and then our non-conference travel, and then our non-conference regional, and then our conference and the conference tournament. And we have these feast or famine kind of years where it's you go to Hawaii for 2, and you don't have them here, so you have that travel, and then on certain years you're here and you don't have to go on that travel. It just happened to be that it was a Hawaii year for us, and then another year of the playoffs there. and just the way our schedule worked out, we played Hawaii late, so it means we played there twice in a 3-week period, and I think the guys handled that really well. In one way, that I'm glad that we had the extra break that we don't always have. That was really good for our guys getting back from the Big West Conference tournament. But I think that the guys that have been around and understand just that cycle of what it's like to go through the season was great for some of the younger guys that maybe this is their first go around.
Do you think that was something the team needed mentally to reset as well, not just physically?
After the Big West tournament?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that either way we would have been ready to go. I just think that once you kind of know, when we were on our way to the Big West tournament, you kind of knew we had that break, so it was kind of a nice thing that you were looking forward to. At the same time, if that wasn't the case, then you just adjust your mindset. So I think it's a benefit. I don't know if they would have known any different, to be honest with you, if the schedule said we had to go. I just think that at this point of the year, you're so excited to go play and looking forward to this competition that you just really have to rely on being 100% of whatever you are in that moment. So hopefully we're a little bit more than we would have been a week ago. But either way, let's get after it.
What do you feel were some of the things that the team improved on in the last week, if anything at all?
I just think that there was so many changes that have happened recently, and the schedule was just kind of we just got to keep going, and we were traveling, and we didn't really have a whole lot of opportunity to work on some things other than kind of the basics. So I think that we're probably a little bit better. Hopefully we're a little bit better in our transition and converting after we've got to create, hopefully expanding our serving range. And I certainly think that there's always room to continue to water the green spots and improve at your blocking defense. So when I say that, not just blocking the ball, but blocking balls, creating good opportunities in transition in other words, floor defense and balls off the top of the block and all that. And then just continuing timing, because we got some guys that played in the middle and now they're at a pin, and it's easier said than done. But in transition, what ends up happening is the timing's not as comfortable in transition sometimes as it is in first ball when you get a perfect pass. When it's transition, it can be a little chaotic, and sometimes the connections they don't feel as comfortable. And that, I think that at times was the case the last couple of weeks, and it's been a big focus of our training.
Now, the AVC All-American Team was announced this morning. You guys have 5 players on there. Can you talk a little bit about what each of them has brought to the team this season?
Yeah, well, I think that if you start with the guys that got honorable mention, I just think Daniil just carried a huge load for us, and it's really impressive what he was able to do. So I was really happy that he got recognized. Kellen Larson had a great year, and obviously I made the decision early on that I was using 2 liberos, and that probably ended up hurting him in some of the voting for different things, just because if you look at numbers, it greatly affected some of his stat lines. But if you take from when he started playing both sides of the libero position, I think he's done a tremendous job, and he's got a heck of a future ahead of him. Anyway, so I'm glad that the committee was able to recognize that. And then with Dieras, I just think that I think he easily could have been first team, in my opinion. He was definitely one of those guys that's right there on that cusp. But to us, he's a first team just by his leadership, and he's been the anchor to our middle all season long. He's only gotten better as the season went on. His leadership, because it was really the middle of his junior year, really, when he got on the court and really started to be a consistent starter for us. So this is really the full season that the first full season that he's been out there after being a transfer for us. So you're really starting to see a different side of him this second half of the season too, as far as his leadership, his ability to speak up and lead by example, but also lead with his voice sometimes, especially on the blocking defense side. Very much deserving of the award. And then, Skylar's just been an absolute rock for us all season long. So happy for him after coming off his missing all last year in the fall, and the whole season before that with an injury and surgery. And then, I threw him on the right last year, which wasn't necessarily comfortable for him, but he did a great job. And then this is his first full year of being at his true position. And you can see that just in his comfort level of how he's went about his business. He's our captain, and he just does it. He does everything for us. And then, of course, Moni had a spectacular year and newcomer of the year and conference player of the year, and just enormous impact on Long Beach State volleyball and the whole conference, and in reality, all of men's volleyball. So obviously very deserving.
Thank you, Coach, and good luck in Columbus.
I appreciate it. Thank you.